going live, and I think we're live now.
Are we
Awaken
live?
Stories on YouTube if you want to get the full effect of our interview.
We are live. We are live. Yay. This is Sue Greenwald with Awaken Stories, and I'm here today with the real, the one, the only original John F. Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sue. Every
Yep.
time I get to go on with you and chat, it's wonderful.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, usually try to talk about once a week just to kind of catch up and let people know what's going on in our lives, to remind people about the story and get maybe like summarize the story in places, sometimes to tell new stories. So, what's been up with you?
Oh, sleepy a lot. Taking a lot of naps lately. I've been
Well,
trying to relax. I hadn't been feeling good all week, and I like to take my naps. And I've been going out, sitting in the garden with a chair and watching the flowers grow, but just trying to take it easy.
right, right.
Um, Facebook and every all these haters and stuff, they really get me upset, and I keep going, but sometimes I want to lose it and just tell them to all middle finger it.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I get it. Okay, so we talked last week about censorship and I was all worked up. So it continues. So
Ah,
yeah, it's continued. It's been horrible. So I sent a whole bunch of texts to somebody and then I was like, what is happening? Like, I hope they're okay because it was like 5 days or so. So I called and they were like, I haven't gotten anything from you. And that's not the first time. So they're blocking my texts. All right. And of course, it doesn't show that they're blocked. So that's annoying. And then, my YouTube was blocked last week because they don't want the content out. Um, Now I have to prove I am who I am to get back on the YouTube channel properly. And they won't let my descriptions hold links. I can't link anything to it. Random stuff, but it's just annoying. So people
I
don't
saw
realize the censorship is real, right?
I saw actually Donald Trump. He might have done something good, but I still don't know what his motives are because he doesn't do much good. But um, he made a comment that he wants no censorship on TikTok and
Yeah,
Facebook and this kind of thing. So we'll see because yeah, right now it's total censorship.
yeah,
TikTok's really bad,
yeah. I
but
saw that, I guess it was yesterday or the day before, and I was thinking the same thing as this. So this is going to include us, right? It'll be
my
interesting.
mind goes, "Hey, Bubby, where'd you go? Come here, say hi. Hmm, come here, come on.
There's
Oh,
Buddy.
no, no, you want to come say hi over here? Come on.
Yeah.
Say hi to everybody."
So I'm not seeing this on my channel. I'm not able to see it whatsoever. So we just trust that we're going live. At least we're out on Facebook. Hey, Buddy.
Is that
He, he
that's
looks
you?
happy and healthy.
Oh, he's gotten fat. Ow. Yeah, he's gotten fat. Robin, I keep telling her quit feeding, but he's gained a lot of weight since we got him from the pound
Yep.
there.
Yep.
But he was skinny. He was skinny when he was at the pound, but now he's overdoing it.
Yep. Well,
Robin's gonna start taking him to the park again.
it's probably he's so grateful to have a home. And there's so many dogs out there that need help, or cats or horses, whatever. So if you're going to get a pet, please go to the rescue center, right?
Yeah.
It saves their lives. So we always promote the book Stolen Identity that John wrote. This tells the core story about what we're talking about, how John was basically switched out. We're going to call it hidden away in a organized crime household. He witnessed murders, he was trafficked, kidnapped, beaten, tortured. You name anything bad, it happened to John, right? Almost murdered a billion times. So that tells the core story. It's fabulously done. It is a short book to read. You could probably read it in 4 to 5 hours total. And it gives you a great overview of the story. And then the second book is called The Historian's Tale, which adds more content to what you're already reading about. And these books are available on John's website, the real J the real John F. Kennedy JR.com. Okay. Both those books are available there. That's what we usually base our conversations on. So we assume that people have heard the story, have read the story, have watched our interviews before. We've talked about this now 2 years. We've been talking almost weekly about your story. And it looks like you're locked up. Okay. Gotta love it. Yeah, and another part of censorship is Zoom. Either we can't get into Zoom or there's all sorts of technical difficulties. So I'm not sure if we're going to lose the link here, but I'm going to share John's website while we're waiting.
Like me and all our interviews that we've
There we
done.
go. Forget it.
Your internet, at least on my end, froze up. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
froze up here for me too. I don't know. Yeah.
In the minute I picked up the new book,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is the new book that I compiled from our videos. It's called Quest for Justice. Okay. The Stolen Life of John F. Kennedy Jr. Okay, so we've been talking for almost 2 years, and what I did is I compiled all of our stories and tried to organize them into chapters. And that book has been censored, basically taken down off of Amazon and all of that. So I don't love this, but we have put it out for pre-sale right now. You can pre-purchase your copy now, and I will be actually doing the shipping. For
Sue,
now, for
I
now.
would love to answer this comment.
Yeah.
Whoa, in my little cup in my little stand.
Yeah.
It says, if you're willing to come out and say you're the real JFK Jr., then why don't you opt to get your bloodline name back? It's just a question I thought about. Well, it's not as easy as it sounds. Nothing is easy
Yeah.
when you know how hard it is to get the Epstein files released. Well, my files are bigger than the Epstein files because I share the same thing in my story as the Epstein files, all the way to my family was murdered by government. My family was murdered by government, and people like Donald Trump stole my loved ones' possessions after they were murdered, sold them at Trump Tower. They won't release my DNA, my father's DNA. We bought a hair sample that was supposed to be reliable, trustworthy, and my father's DNA, and the lab tested it and said it's a wig. So I hope that answers your question because things aren't just that simple. People say, why don't you just go out to the news media? The news media are bought and paid for by these billionaires. They don't want my story out. They've all been sent books. I knew Sean Hannity of Fox News. He took the money. Yeah, they make millions and millions of dollars to cover up the story, to put Trump in the headlines. And I'm trying to say, hey, Trump was my cousin, but he's not my cousin no more. It's a crime ring now. You saw my mother, you saw my father. Um, you know, my father was executed for the whole world to see. My uncle was executed for the whole world to see. But what they don't tell you is they killed my mom, they killed my sister, they killed my aunts, they killed my uncles. They murdered these people. That's how our government actually really works. And with that said, I believe they probably whacked old Charlie too. But the cabal does that. You know, if you've ever watched a mob movie, they'll say, your best friend's the one that'll kill you. Yeah, well, who was Charlie's friends? And after he got whacked, oh, it's all over Fox News. Let's make holidays. Let's have fucking Christmas parties. Let's celebrate Charlie's death. Let's put it on the news each and every day, 23 hours a day. When I know how they work. So I believe, yes, Donald Trump is 100% guilty, just like more than likely he's 100% guilty for making Epstein go away. That's how they work. I know how they work. like I just said, my whole family, my loved ones, and I was there. I saw it. So I hope that answers your question. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Right, right. So consider this. John has, no money right now. Okay. He's a guy like just trying to survive right now. No money. He's got no fame at this moment. There's no way for him to break through this without
Yeah,
our
we
help.
don't have money for billboards. We don't have money to
Yeah,
advertise. We can't put it in the National Enquirer or magazines. Hey, I'm the real John Kennedy
yeah,
Jr. Um, King just called me a little while ago. I said, "Hey, brother, I'm manifesting. We got this." He's so positive with his
yeah,
energy,
yeah.
and I'm like, "Hey, man, I sure try, but sometimes I put my foot in my mouth and I'm not so positive." But
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's frustrating because you're literally online every day, at least once a day, telling the story over and over and over. You want it to get out to the public. And there's, how else can you do it at this point in life,
and
right?
and I got so many haters as it is. They're
Yeah,
I'm exposing these people that they use identity theft. Organized crime is making billions of dollars within our very own government on identity theft, and things don't add up. I know, and many people are waking up to things aren't right. They just ain't
right,
right.
right,
They're not adding up.
right.
And Charlie is a wonderful example of that and what they do. Um, in short, you got our government going like this. Look at this hand. While they got a knife in their hand, stabbing the person with this hand, going, "Hey, um, I, new pictures of me are coming out all the time. I've said, Wayne took me around to commercial after commercial. I remember meeting the twins, the Wrigley twins or whatever, Doublemint gum twins, and I've shared that so much. But someday, I wanted to make a video, and maybe after we're done, I'll make a video and actually share my life because people just assume, oh, you're not the John Kennedy Jr. You look nothing like that Greek guy. And it's like, oh, wait, I was kidnapped. I was replaced. That's my brother, George Onassis. But I'd like to start at the beginning and say, hey, I'm John Kennedy Jr., blah, 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 blah,
Well, if you want to say it now, now's the time, right?
blah.
We've got time. And what before
Okay,
you
well, let's
do,
do it. And then when we share, the people will really know what's up.
yeah. I wanted to talk about the documentary that is literally 1 hour long. So if you don't know the story, go to thequietjourney.tv. And 1 hour of your time, you'll understand the story. Okay, John, back to you. So why don't you tell a new viewer your story?
Um, I got another comment here real quick. It says so easy people to change their name these days, but DNA can't be changed. No, but the people have to handle. You can't test your own DNA. So once it's in that test tube, that can be handled by anyone. I've seen that done personally. All they have to do is go into the lab and say, "This test tube's going in this box, and this test tube that was in that box is going." That just screwed the whole thing about DNA all up right there. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, so anyway, I'm the real John Kennedy Jr. That's the name that my mother and father gave me. And if you need, to get where I'm coming from, you have to realize the United States government is the big prize for every criminal around the world. The control of us, this big nation. So they do so many things to try to take that power. You see war after war after war, all the way from World War I, World War II, and it's about trying to take power over these countries. But the United States is a big prize, and that's why my father was executed. That's why my uncle was executed because the Kennedys were at the top. And if you don't know, my mother, my father, my sister, me were told everything what to do. It's just like a crime family would be. The Kennedy family was just like a crime family. We were told by the shadow government what to do and how to do it. If you see me drinking a Coke, that's because the shadow government stepped in and said, go drink that Coca-Cola. If you see me eating a piece of gum, that's because the billionaires that own all this stuff, that own General Mills and Quaker Oats and Pepsi and Coke, that's the billionaires. You got McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell and Long.
Right.
You got all these people, and they're all the cabal. They're all the same, tied together. It's huge. So you need to realize that big business runs everything. They're the ones that put the presidents in place. Donald Trump's not the boss. He's just in, yeah. But anyway, they're all told what to do by the shadow government. So my father was being told what to do. I was being told what to do. They took my father out. They didn't like him saying, okay, we got a big problem here. Our CIA's criminal organization. They didn't like it. They didn't like all the other things in between. But my father, just like Charlie, was saying, we need to expose these people. Even Charlie, days before his great adventure, he was like, we need to, and Donald Trump was his friend supposedly. And that's, yeah, Charlie saying, we need to release the Epstein files. We really need to get the truth out. Sorry, Donald Trump don't want him out. He hires people like the FBI agent not to get him out. It's an organized crime unit at the top. So we were all told what to do. My father was assassinated when I was 3 years old. My mother was being controlled by these people, being told what to do by these people. The Kennedy family was so big into organized crime. You had the good guys wanting to help me. You had the good guys wanting to teach me. You had Kennedys in the FBI, the Secret Service. It was a huge organization. So you had people wanting to silence me, along with the rest of the Kennedys. And like I said, my mother was killed. They were all being murdered because the other organized crime families were taking over. So you had people trying to protect me, and you had people trying to kill me all at the same time. It was crazy. One place they sent me was Vietnam. Yeah. And I was actually there. If you know Walmart and Sam's Club, it's world now. Sam Walton started Walmart. Now every city's got a Walmart. I was in Vietnam with John Walton, which was Sam Walton's son, the founder of Walmart. Hillary Clinton sat on the board of Walmart. It's all connected. It's a small world at the top of these criminals. You have one, anyway, I just explained how they own everything from Chevy to Ford to Dodge to Burger King to, Walmart. So anyway, you got these billionaires at the top. They want to hold on to their prize. And then you got people like Russia and all these other countries sending their spies in to see what they can do to take all that away from these billionaires. So it's a constant battle. I don't want to go to the top. It's freaking crazy at the top. There's a lot of murders at the top that I've seen personally. But I'm explaining how they did it and why they did it. And I hope a lot of the viewers get it. But after my father was assassinated, they started drugging my mom, doing crazy things, telling her what to do, how to do it. My mom wanted me to be the best and the most schooled. I was on a nuclear submarine. I went on a battleship. I was put on Guantanamo in a freaking cave. I seen some crazy shit, but they were teaching me. They put me in the army just for basic training to teach me. They drove me crazy. They put me in MK Ultra programs, in mind experiment programs. They wanted me to be built up to teach and everything else to me. So in Hollywood, they gave me a career. Richard Steele. I was with Doris Day. I met every single movie star that they owned, that these big people that they owned. And that's what they do. I got taken around and met the Rolling Stones, for God's sakes. I tried to, they put me with the Hells Angels. And one of my stories is I was sitting on a case of dynamite going out to blow up Mick Jagger, for God's sakes. They were teaching me how it's all connected, how it all works, and how it's all run. I had so many attempts on my life because it was a mafia war. It was a constant war to take power of the United States. But there was people trying to build me up in all of this and teach me. They told me one time, you don't need to go to school. You don't need to learn what's in school. We're going to teach you what you need to know and how it really works. And they did over and over and over again. Now, what happened to like Wayne? Wayne was a very powerful man. You know, he hung out with all these stars. He told them what to do. The porn industry, it's $1 billion industry. They ran that too. They taught me that aspect of it all. It's anytime there's billions of dollars made, organized crime owns it. It's all the way to the top of our government. And it's really sad that it's got there to this point where I believe we're in sad shape. We really are. That's why I'm on here every day.
Yeah.
That's why you'll see my posts where I don't like Donald Trump whatsoever. Like I said, Donald Trump helped sell my loved ones' possessions at auction that had been murdered. So, like I said, you had my mother, my sister. They replaced me. They replaced my mother, and they replaced my sister. They made billions of dollars doing this. But when these people were had passed away, like the fake mom I had, all these possessions went to the fake me. John, the whole world knew him. And him and Donald Trump and Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy made a few $100,000 off the death of John. It's an organized crime ring, and they love passing out the hundreds of thousands of dollars so that yeah, a picture will tell you 1,000 words. You got a picture of John, you got a picture of Donald Trump, you got a picture of Robert. They're all together. They're all the cabal. They're all stolen identities, just like me, and it's huge. So you can understand why I'm so pissed off at this president. And they say, well, what about the past presidents? Yes, the Democratic Party. I believe Bill Clinton tried to have me murdered on that plane when George died. I believe that was Bill Clinton. Hillary Clinton would not fly with me on an airplane one day because she knew they wanted me dead. Straight up. I think that's in my book. That's when she worked for Sam Walton on the board of Walmart. Now you think of all that money. You got Hillary Clinton working at the board of Walmart, and then you got a Walmart in every town. And then you have the Waltons. I believe those people were murdered and replaced also. They're making billions of dollars, billions and billions and billions. You just million every minute that they're making at all these Walmarts. And it's all the cabal, people. Like I said, the United States is a big prize. So these people in power, they unalive people. Straight up, they unalive you. They steal your identity and then they sit back and make the billions and billions of dollars. That's why they want the Trumps in power. That's why they want us enslaved. So anyway, I was in Hollywood. They were teaching me Hollywood, all the way to, like I said, the porn industry. All I believe they wanted me to run Atlantic City. Donald Trump went bankrupt in Atlantic City. They killed the real Donald Trump and all his mafia bosses in a helicopter crash in '89. I was in Atlantic City at that time. I thought they wanted me to run Atlantic City for organized crime. So I learned everything I possibly could because that's the way I was taught. Learn what you can. But there were so many things that I was taught to do, from the military on how these people work. I knew the spies. I knew the double agents, the triple agents, the spin. I lived with it. I was taken to murder crime scenes where they pop up the little tent, and here I am standing there with Wayne, looking at a dead body in a ravine. Um, I was taught so much, all the way to, you remember Waco, Texas? Anything big that makes the news is usually done by the cabal. They're the ones that have all the money, all the power to do these big deeds of evil. 9/11, I was there. They showed me it was an inside job. Yes, 9/11. Um, Reverend Jim Jones and the Kool-Aid, all the Kool-Aid. I don't even like talking about it because I was there for days picking up bodies, putting them in tin cans. That's little metal coffins that the government puts you in when you're deceased. You have to put Vicks in your nose and pack it in there just so you can handle the stench. That was planned. They did the Kool-Aid thing just because they killed one United States senator from California. So hear me what they do. The cabal at the top that run everything said, you want to kill one of our family members, one of our senators? You're all going to drink Kool-Aid now. Every single freaking one of you. That's the kind of power that they have. So when I see somebody like Charlie and all the goofy stuff going around with that, where was actually the shooter? MK Ultra, how they can program these young kids to do crazy things. I've seen it. I know how it works. And I hope you respect that because I'm just trying to share my story and help the people understand how it really freaking works at the top. Thank you, Sue, for letting me share all that.
Well, you know what? It's all valid. There's so much there. That's a whole lifetime into one long paragraph. But it's true. So they take a celebrity's child, someone that they want to make famous in some way. They alter their personality. They take children and force them to do horrible things and blackmail them. But they're given, if they play the game right, they're given a place in society, an acting career, a political career, whatever it might be. So all of this is really coming out right now as we're out there in the world watching videos, looking at celebrities that have changed their appearance or their demeanor or their voice or whatever. We're seeing it out there. So John is just sharing his experience.
Yeah.
Horrible. It
And
was a
there's so much I
horrible
got
one.
to share that I don't share too.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody just yesterday, I believe, because I get so much hate. You can't be who you are, blah blah. I had a picture of me holding an M16 next to Ralph Sonny Barger, the president of the Hells Angels. Um, People don't know what they do. They have no clue. But I couldn't be that kid. No way in hell. That's not a real picture. But I know things that people do. They they put all their shit. It's a small world. Wayne used to tell me that all the time. It's a small world. So they put all the members so they control everyone. I was put with the Quigleys. They were my handlers. They would come in the middle of the night under MK Ultra, take me to Greece, take me all over the world, and take me to killings that hadn't happened yet, pre-planned murders that were going to happen. They would take me there. A lot of it was to show me what was going on. This is just my opinion because I don't know what they were doing. Um, but I was there when murders were committed. They would take me there, show me what they do, how they do it, how they get away with it. Um, but that one picture got to me where somebody said that's not me next to Sonny holding that rifle. I was wearing a full patched vest that day, full patched, 1%er. I had the patch on the back, the death skull on the back. What did I have to do to earn that? You tell me. I was 5 years old. But anyway, I grew up, and this is you know, um, like Aristotle Onassis, the Greek billionaire, the man that ran oil, on his ships and oil tankers, everything else. They don't advertise. Like when my stepbrother died in my freaking arms from a head wound from a gunshot. Everybody says you're lying. I looked it on Google. You can't look what I'm telling you on Google. It's my truthful story right here. My stepbrother was shot in the head. It wasn't from the plane crash. He crashed the plane after he was shot in the head, and I was on the back of the plane with him. Um, but how a good example of how they put us all in one basket to control us all. Ralph Sonny Barger was the president of the Hells Angels, and they don't advertise their children either. But his real son was my friend in my teenage years. Um, he really was. A lot of people don't even know he had a son, but he did. And he was my friend. We hung out, we smoked pot together, we drank beers together. Um, we rode motorcycles together. We did all kinds of stuff together. Um, but he was actually Sonny's son. I haven't talked to him in many, many years. I don't know if he's alive or dead. I'm not going to mention any names because people like killing people at the top. So why would I want to put my old friend's life in danger by sharing that?
Right.
Yeah, I don't mind sharing that my stepbrother was shot in the head and executed because he's not here anymore. A lot of my stories I don't put out there, a lot of the truth that I don't put out there, because there's still people alive that they might want to come after. I'm sharing my story. They can come after me. I don't want to put anybody's, and sometimes I might mess up, but I'm trying to keep people safe around me. Um, but yeah, a lot of people say, "Why I'm not hiding." Um, but if people want to try to come after me, I wouldn't advise it at all.
I wouldn't advise it either, and it's not the right thing to do anyway. Really, and the fact that this story is so censored is just testament to they do not want this content out there. All right. Um, they do not want this out there. Like John said, this is as big as the JFK files. It's as big as the Epstein files because it is linked with
Yeah.
them. It is
And with
part
that
of what
said,
they're hiding.
the JFK files that they released were not the real files. You're hearing the real files from me.
Yeah.
And then, what the cabal do to rub it in your face. I've been sharing my story. Hey, my mother, Jackie Kennedy, was killed in 1975. She was replaced. Our former first lady, the government killed her to steal that billions of all her money. And then you got Donald Trump wanting to change all these names around. You got you know, what did he do to the rose garden? That was my mother's rose garden. And he bulldozed it up and put cement patio where my mother's lovely rose garden was. And then he wants to change he wants to change and just them putting their name, their cabal, as far as I'm concerned, Melania is a freaking tramp, a hoe, whatever you want to call it. Donald Trump is a scumbag, and they want to change the Kennedy name to Trump. They want to put their name before my great father and my great mother and change all this bullshit, strip the rose garden, lay down cement. See, that's what we do. We're the cabal. We're going to tear up what Jackie Kennedy, because we killed her. We sold all her possessions at Trump Tower. And yeah, I'm getting a little aggravated, but my
I,
aggravation is justified.
it is justified and all that. And like we've talked before, it's got to be hard to go through this same thing every day. And, like people don't understand you live this. It isn't just a story. He lived through this, right? He firsthand witnessed the murders. I know you said, John, you lost count after 80 murders. How many of us have seen 80 murders before? Or we wouldn't want to. That's crazy. Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go through some very
Traumatic.
difficult mentally in my head.
Traumatic. Yeah.
Just what they would teach me. They told me they would teach me what I needed to learn, not what school books will teach you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, cutting off ears off of dead human beings, putting them on a necklace to sport around your neck. Um, you know, they made a game of it when I was a little kid, throwing something worth value into a container full of dead
Yeah.
bodies and say, "Go find it, kid.
Yeah.
Let's see if you got what it takes."
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
saw a lot. I
Yeah.
really did.
So consider this. John, you were a son of a president, a US president. So you always had Secret Service and aides and nannies and this and that, taking you here and there, ordering you around. You just kind of did what you were told, right? You didn't really have the bigger picture. You were just a kid. Your father's assassinated, and again, that trend continues. For a while, but then you're sent to the Quigley house. Again, they're still telling you what to do and shuffling you around, but this time it's a very negative result. You're seeing
Oh
all
yeah.
sorts of unsavory things happening. You
Well,
probably don't
they did
understand it.
so many things. They didn't want me to know that my father was the president of the United States.
Right.
One of those things was back then everybody called my father Jack. So I heard Jack, Jack. Well, I heard my mother calling my father Jack. So they were doing things so I wouldn't remember. I had a book, my father's book, in Aristotle Onassis's yacht on the shelf that reminded me, hey, my father was the president of the United States.
Yeah.
But they weren't advertising it. Far from it. They were trying to make me forget that my father was the president. They didn't want me to remember. They did a lot of things as far as not making me want to remember, for torture. And you got to remember, these are people within our very own secret service that were doing all this shady, sneaky shit by putting George Onassis in my place for the purpose of stealing money.
Right.
You know, it, why go rob a bank when you can just kidnap the son of our former president and say, hey, we're going to steal everything you freaking got.
Right. Right.
You're not going to get billions from robbing a bank. Um, I can tell you many
Yeah.
examples of what they do and how they do it, but they're getting rich and they're making their billionaires friends rich on their
Yeah.
evil deeds.
Yeah.
And I keep getting, well, why don't you talk about Bill Clinton and Obama, And that's where, Donald Trump sent him in that direction. Anytime somebody points their finger at Donald Trump that he's a criminal, he says, well, what about Biden? It's all the same crime ring. It,
Yeah.
it really is. They're
Yeah.
they're all, and I've talked about them all. I'm anti-government. Government it's a ringer, people, and we're the victims of what they do.
Right. Right. I guess my point would be for people to just educate themselves about the story. Like not only your story, but that's a really good spot to learn. So why would they do this to someone? Why? Well, they're taking the resources, they're taking the finances, they're controlling the businesses, they're controlling public opinion if you're an influencer of some sort. They control public opinion. They can even control laws and governing the people. All right. So they put their replacements in these places, then they control them. They control the assets, whatever it might be. Right. Now, sometimes the people play along, they're rewarded or whatever. Sometimes they're threatened. Doesn't matter. The end result is that the people, the common person, is, well, tricked into believing certain things. That's why we have such a hard time believing that John is who he is, all right? Because we're still being shown 25 years later after his death, the fake John Jr. on the cover of magazines, documentaries, articles. We're still being fed the same story over and over.
Yeah.
You ever
I've
wonder?
been sharing my story for, I'm guessing, 9 years now.
Yeah,
When I decided, hey, I'm coming out. I don't care if they kill me or not. I'm coming out. And where has my story gone? We're stuck to TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and Zoom, all these
yeah,
that these people own, and then we're hindered and blocked and shadow banned. When this is the biggest story of the century,
right,
it really is, and I'm not just saying that to brag or boast, but you all see how hard it is to release the truth. If the Epstein files, they're pointing their finger at Donald Trump for being a molester. So that's what they're doing to my files. But there's my files are bigger than the Epstein files, but they're still not making it as big as the Epstein files. They're still hindering me. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can bust the bubble and say, hey, release the John F. Kennedy Jr. files. There was always somebody when I was taken around. You got to remember, this was the FBI, our CIA, and our Secret Service that were taking me around to do all these crimes in our government. They were taking freaking notes all the time. It was getting bad on what we were actually doing from black ops. Um, the government's corrupt, people. They really, really are. They cover their ass in secrecy. They don't advertise their evil deeds that they do to make money.
Right. Well, just think of it this way. Okay, Donald Trump starts off strong this year. Gonna release the JFK and the Epstein files, right? Everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's so awesome." And then all of a sudden in July, oh, there aren't any Epstein files. Oh, my mistake, right? Are you guys kidding me? So that should be a big red flag for the average person, right? That doesn't seem right, does it? Now we've got the FBI director saying, "Oh, sorry, nothing to release," nothing to release.
Yeah, there was this is a great example, and you can hear what I'm saying on this story. There was a train wreck in Arizona here, and I believe there was one death. But anyway, they derailed an Amtrak train. I believe George Bush went out to the wreckage site and said, another photo op. The United States government will pay you $2 million if you help catch the criminal in this derailment act and the killing of the and fucking up the Amtrak train. Well, I know all about it. There was a guy that I believe he was placed on my truck to unalive me. I really do. He was a special forces. Um, but yeah, he told me he was going to do it. He told me how he was going to do it, and you put a wire from one rail to the next rail. You derail it, and that way, at the terminal, they don't know it was been derailed. So here comes the train at 80 miles an hour, and off it goes into the desert and crashes, and you're 100 miles away. Um, so where's my $2 million? You
That's
go to the
good.
FBI and they
Yeah.
say we're not allowed to talk to you, and it's like, well, I don't want to fucking talk to you guys either. Especially after you don't do anything when my son's kidnapped, being extorted, life being threatened. I'm John Kennedy Jr. You won't bring my story out to the world because the presidents of the United States got you in their fucking pocket. I still want my 2 million freaking dollars though, just so I can give it away.
Well, anyway, sometimes it feels, it clenches your heart. Like it feels like there's no hope when we talk about this. Okay. Like there's nothing we can do. But there is something we can do, and that is share the story, whatever way you want to do the videos, share it verbally, share the books, put comments on Amazon or wherever you bought the books. Let people know about this, that there is a real John F. Kennedy Jr., currently alive, telling the story of what really happened to him.
And I
And
will admit, when I was younger, when I was growing up, and all these attempts on my life by these government agents trying to kill me, and the kind of things they did to try to unalive me, I was scared. It's mentally, physically, does a toll on you when people are trying to take your life, and you have no money in your pocket. You're
right.
just trying to survive, and you know these people want you dead, so you never talk again. And I've got over that. So that's one good thing they've taught me is not to fear. People say, "Aren't you afraid of dying for what you're sharing?" It's like, no, I am not afraid to die. I am very concerned. I know Daddy's going to take care of me because I walk with Daddy each and every day. And I've seen what Daddy does to people that try to come after me. They lose their freaking mind. They do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I don't have fear, but I am concerned all the time. I don't like pain either. So,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to share my story to wake the world up to what's really going on.
Yeah.
and maybe we can make a difference for all the injustice that's going on and help the veterans and help the children and on and on and on the things that they don't want. You know, they're so busy fighting in Washington, they're not taking care of business. They're not taking care of the inflation. They're not taking care of the children that go missing by the thousands. They're not, you know, there was a couple colored people hung on. I heard on the news. No, I don't watch the news. It was on the internet, but there's so many things that aren't being taken care of. The same day Charlie was done in, probably by Trump himself, and I don't mind saying that. I really don't, because I know how evil this crime ring is. Um, but there was children that same day at a school, and you don't hear nothing about. Why don't we make a holiday for all the children that have been unalived by the cabal themselves?
We're finding that every story we've been taught, see, they're really pushing this story down our throats. Okay. That should be a red flag in itself. Like, why are they so adamant that we believe this story? And they're even making rules. You can't, anyone that says anything negative about that story, like they either get fired or something's going to happen. They're going to be incarcerated, whatever it might be. That should raise a red flag. We have freedom of speech, supposedly in this country. All right. If something looks suspicious, can't we say it doesn't look right? Like we're seeing evidence, lots of stuff coming out. That story doesn't seem right. So maybe look around for yourself. Make your opinion after you've educated yourself, right?
And these people like Epstein and all the people that went to his island. I was abused as a child. Yeah. I know why they do it. I know how they do it, and it's to control
Yeah.
the children. They try to start armies to control children for their projects and do their works, and they lie. But here's a great example of how evil these people are at the top and how they believe in Satan and the powers of Satan. Um, there was somebody that was unalive. There was a crime family member that was building a restaurant. You know, these guys start their chain, their restaurant chains, and every other thing. But there was a restaurant. They were pouring the foundation of this restaurant, and they figured out where the cashier was gonna, where the cashier cage would be when you pay for your meal, and they buried that body right there. They dug the hole, they poured the cement right where the cashier would be, and they believe that that body being there is going to be crying out for help, and everybody that is paying there is going to get, I don't know if you want to call them frequencies or whatever. They're going to gather right there at the cash register. That's how these satanic people think. I've seen it. They've told me that, and I've seen it over and over again. Like I said, I counted 80 when I was young, and I had to stop because it started making me go crazy, especially after I visioned 80 people actually dying in my mind. And then I started counting them over and seeing these people. And it wasn't very good to do, because all I saw was death over and over and over and over again. And a lot of that, by what I believe, is why there's 22 veterans commit suicide each and every day. You start seeing death in your mind over and over and over again. It's programming your mind. So it makes it easier for these people to commit suicide. It really does. I was suicidal, just thinking about all that. But to let everybody know, I'll never commit suicide, because I want to see how this ends. I've lost too many loved ones in this war to end my own life. I want to go out fighting. I want to go out where we get rid of the cabal that are in the White House. And it's huge. Organized crime is huge
Right.
in our government. It really
Right.
is.
Totally. Totally. Okay. Well, yeah, we're worked up today. Uh,
Yeah, there's
yeah,
been a lot put out today.
yeah. Well, you get one comment like that, and it's like, they don't know the story, but it's like the story is out there. We're just trying to expand it out to new people. Like we have some very good, loyal people that know this story and they follow.
And
They've got compassion and love in their hearts, and they're doing great things to help, and we thank them. but we need new
Oh,
people to know the story so they
yeah, we got to get the
understand it.
story out.
Yeah.
These people, I have never. I mean, I like I said, I get a lot of hate all the time, but I get a lot of love too, and that
Yeah.
love makes up for it.
Yep.
Um, I get a thank you card in the mail. It makes my whole
Yeah.
day. It takes all the hate comments away. It really does. When somebody says, "We love you, John.
Yeah.
Don't ever give up. We're with you. We're sharing your story." And I thank all you. I call them lions. These wonderful, thankful people. I call them the Paul Reveres of this century for trying to get the story out to the world that they don't want out. It's really huge. But with all my heart and soul, thank you, lions.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
you wonderful people.
Yeah.
I did not know there was this much love. My life it was a wreck. It really was. When you're forced to live in poverty, and there's attempts on your life, you're being controlled, and it's hard to survive. It really is. You start hating people because all you're doing is getting hate from everybody all around you. Is treating you like the stepson that you're just the black sheep stepson. You're
Yeah.
not worth a shit. And here I was, the son of our assassinated president, one of the best presidents we've ever had in the White House, and people are
Yeah.
treating me like that.
Yeah.
They used to, and I don't mind sharing this, but the cabal are so evil. When I was a little kid, like I said, I was molested. I know how they work. I know all about the Epstein files, but I want you to picture these rich billionaires in a room and the son of our former assassinated president having to give them a fucking blowjob. So they say, "Yeah, we're the cabal. I just got a blowjob from little John Kennedy." That's their mentality. And that's what was done. They make you think your story's going to come out. And then all of a sudden they're pounding you in the face. They're making your face all swell up, your lips swell up, your nose bleed, and they're throwing you in a freaking cage and they're saying, "See what we can do to the son of our former president. We took this shit over." And they boast about it. It's like they get power from all this. And I got the big panda eyes, and they're making me do this, and they're making me do that. But that's our government. That's our secret service, and it's huge. So I'm just trying to expose all that to the world, and it's not just Donald Trump. He's just part of it all. That's all.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. The watchers are going to help get that out in whatever way they can through the grassroots motion of sharing, liking, sharing, subscribing, sharing the book, sharing their comments, just send it around to new people that might need to know this story because John isn't the only one. All right.
Yeah, there's
This
many others, many, many others.
happened. Yeah.
When I say organized crime and they have the power over all these um, people in Hollywood, all these
Yeah.
musicians, all these ball
Yeah.
players, they have the power over all of them. They're all connected. They've been placed by the cabal. So there's many, many victims to
Right.
what I'm sharing. There really, really is.
Yep. Politicians, entertainers, the singers, the actors, whatever it might be, any influencers, anyone with money is a target, right?
And they
And the
get them as
children.
children. They get them as children. They brainwash them as children. And then they give
Yeah.
them spots. And once they give them a spot, to sit in on a mainstream media channel and push their propaganda, and they're making millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
And these people don't. I heard Brian Kilmeade say, you know, I was really pissed off when they Donald Trump got on there and said the homeless, we're just going to get rid of them, put them on a fucking bus, get them out of our sight. But Brian Kilmeade was on, and I heard this on Facebook, I believe, said we all just need to kill them all. Basically, is what he said. Give them all a hot shot, let them all die. But he's a news anchor man, for God's sakes. That's the mentality. Instead of fixing the problem, let's get rid of the problem
They
because they're
created the
making their
problem.
millions. They're
Yeah.
making their millions of freaking dollars. They can buy whatever they want. They don't care about the little guy, which is
Right.
us.
Right.
And a lot of these people were veterans that served our country. They should be first. God bless America.
Okay, well, thank you so much, John, for your time. Thank you for watching, and please share the story around to anyone that will listen. Thanks.
Yeah, help me bust this bubble. Help me get the real files,
Yep,
my files out. I
yep,
know it's not going to be easy, but I got my own files, people, and they expose a lot that are the same as the Epstein files, but
yep,
all the way to the murder
yep,
of of many people, like I said.
yeah. Okay. Thanks so much, John. Appreciate your time so much.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody on Facebook. Please hit that